One thing that really stood out in Tara was how natural the friendships felt. Were those scenes drawn from real conversations you witnessed or experienced? How did you create such authentic chemistry on screen?
The chemistry of the four friends was a chemistry that all friends have with each other.
Yes.
Somehow we don't speak about it.
Yeah.
Somehow, there is such a strong hold of patriarchy in our storytelling that they don't see women bonding with each other as a very normal thing. Because in very, very conservative households, women are normally kept apart. Women are normally made not to get along with each other. They're looked as like if they come together, then they will do something very dramatic, which we will not be able to control. So women's friendships are also controlled.
Yeah.
But actually, in real life, I mean, even in those societies where women are made to stay apart, they find ways of coming together and getting along with each other,
True.
just like men do. Women get along with each other the way men do with each.
Yeah.
So if there are those movies like Dil Chahta Hai and others, those are
Yes.
the lives we have led.
Yeah.
There's no difference in Dil Chahta Hai and Tara.
Yeah.
Tara was actually came before Dil Chahta Hai.
True.
So the male story of Dil Chahta Hai was the female story of Tara, and that was the life I was leading. That was the life my friends were leading. That's the life we are still leading. We still spend time together. We still hang out together. We still have so much fun together. We still travel together. We do road trips together. So who's to stop us, right? But if storytelling telling eliminates us from that, if that discourse only decides that we don't want to show this to our societies, otherwise our societies or our cultures will get or cultures will feel threatened or societies and women will get spoiled, then that's we are doing a great disservice to the people, right?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I noticed Tara didn't rely on melodrama or a background music to create, the emotion.
Yes.
It was all about performance, the writing. Was that a conscious decision or, uh,
No, I think all that over the top drama and all is invariably required, and that kind of sound and music is invariably required where you don't have confidence in your story.
true, true.
So if you have confidence in your story, then you don't need anything. You just need a very supportive soundscape, a supportive image and cinematography scape, and you need the actors and the script to allow that story to unfold on its own.
Yeah.
And that's what Tara was all about. I mean, I just wrote that. I had, of course, a team of writers with me, and I wrote those scenes and I wrote those dialogues, and everything just happened because the actors fell into place. All the actors actually, the women who played the roles, they used to relate to it so much that they used to have a hassle working somewhere else where they had to do all these like very, stereotype, trope kind of work. And suddenly over here, there was this breath of fresh air where they could actually relate with what they were doing.
So,
And not only that show, if you remember in those times,
yeah.
there was Banegi Apni Baat, there was Hasrate, Campus. I mean, there were many, many such shows in those days which were very forward and they were very natural and very normal.
So I'll just take a step back, but we didn't really speak about how that journey started. When you got that opportunity to write and thought that this is a good opportunity for you. So how did that happen?
Oh, well, that's, I've told this story so many times. It was very, very unbelievable, actually, what happened. They were these friends of mine, Ashu and Ritu. They used to run a boutique in Bandra, which was called Zvezda. And I was a freelancer. I was an assistant director and a director, and I was running my company actually out of their boutique. I did not have an office. And one day we were just sitting in that boutique and sitting and chilling. We were just sitting and chatting. And these girls were asking me, like, what are you up to and all. I said, there's a new channel that's coming up called Zee TV. And I'm hoping to get a really good story I can go with and propose to them. So while conversation, they said, listen, Vinta, why don't you just tell your own story? So I said, sounds good. I mean, I think there's no such series on air in any case. So that night, I sat and wrote 2 pages of this particular story of the four friends. And that was very close because it was also us four friends who were living together. And all of us had a whale of a time when I read it out to them. Everyone laughed their guts out and they said, fantastic. I said, okay, cool. And so the next morning, I caught a bus and I went to Worli where Zee TV office was there. And I walked in there and there was nothing. Actually, they were still not even, they had not started broadcasting. There was just this news in the air saying that Zee TV is coming. And I walked in and there was nobody there, and there was this huge hall. And at the end of the hall, there was this little bulb which was hanging from the air. And under that, there was a table, couple of chairs. And the then programming head of Zee TV, Karuna Samtani, was sitting there. So I just walked up to her and asked her, can I meet you? So she said, yeah, yeah, come sit. And I sat down. She said, what do you want? What do you do? I told her all about, my work in the 80s and all the people I had assisted and all the people I had worked with. Told her about the films with UNICEF that I had made and stuff like that. So she said, do you have a story? So I said, yeah, I brought it. And those days there were no computers and all of that, right? So I had it on 2 pages, very neatly written and put together. So I left those 2 pages with her and she said, okay, here's my number. She put it on a piece of paper and she said, why don't you call me tomorrow? I said, okay. So the next day when I called her up, she said, this is a beautiful story. We are doing it. I said, what do you mean you're doing it? So she said, we are doing it. Will you produce it? I said, what are you saying? I mean, I don't even have an office. I don't even have, I live out of a boutique. I mean, work out of a boutique owned by my friends. So she said, no, no, come and meet me and let's see how we can get this together. Anyway, because I had assisted Raman, I had worked with him for so many years on many projects. Before going to meet her the next day, I went and met him and I said, it's like miracles of all miracles. And she's saying she'd like to produce it, that she'd like me to produce it. Will you produce it with me?
Yeah.
He said, of course, why not? So the next day when I went with this proposal that Raman Kumar is in. He was very established. So
Yeah.
I said, he's there and we will produce it together and we'll make it. So she said, okay, come tomorrow and sign the contract. I'll have it ready. It was that simple. And it was, of course, not very much money, very small money, because ZTV at that time was also just testing the waters and testing the ground. But
Yeah.
it was well worth it. So that's
Definitely.
how it started. So that's how we went and got an office. Then we set up that office and we set up the production. And before we knew it, voila, we were like in business. And
Yeah.
it became so successful without our knowledge. There was no strategy, nothing. We just kept being sincere with what we were doing, what we were writing. There was honesty in it. The performances were great. All the actors were just fantastic, and the teams were really good. Raman directed it himself, and then his ADs were really good, and I was writing and producing it. So it was a great, great experience, and it became so successful that Z just didn't couldn't stop. They just kept telling us to make one serial after another. Sort of a boutique space where I was in a boutique running a office, production office from a boutique. Suddenly, I had a company. We were making 5 television shows simultaneously. We had 300 people employed. We had 3 offices. It just
Wow.
like within 5 or 6 years, there was this whole thing that happened, which was just unbelievable. But great experience, very exhausting because now, of course, there's so much more uh, professionalism in place and so much more technology in place, so much more communication ease and accessibility. But in those days, it was a very tough job doing all that. But it was really great fun. And we had fabulous times. From 1991, where we started, 1992, when we started Tara,
Yeah.
to 2006, we had made 16 shows, all were super hits. We'd made Millie was the last one that we did together, Raman and I. But
Yeah.
it was just a great, great experience. And then after that, I also wanted to move on. I had already made a feature film. I wanted to explore other things as a creative person. So that's what happened. Yeah.
That's really amazing. But today we talk about so much about representation and female lead narratives. You already did that in 90s, and did you know back then that you were setting a benchmark?
Not at all, in fact, that was not the criteria and that was not the plan.
Yeah.
The plan was to make a nice show that you like to watch.
Yeah.
You would like to watch.
Yeah.
I would like to watch. My friends would like to watch. My colleagues would like to watch. And that's what all of us came together and did. There was never any intention of making some very great statement or mark and telling the world that, carrying a flag of, some liberation or nothing like that. That was our life. And we just mirrored it and placed it into a television show. Of course, we fictionalized and dramatized a lot because finally you have to do those things. But it was more or less a reflection of what life was in an urban city, like metro city like Mumbai at that time, point in time for women.
Yeah.
And middle class women. We were not, showing them as women who were very entitled and privileged. These were women whose struggle was really real.
Do you think Tara should be remade today for today's audience? Would you like to recreate it today?
I do. I've given a very expanded piece of a sequel, the next chapter of Tara to Zee TV, and I'm hoping with my fingers crossed that they will approve it and I will actually make it. That's my plan for the next, hopefully in the next 6 months.
That's a great
Yeah.
news. And among all your projects you have done so far, which is, very close to your heart?
I think Tara, for its being a very important landmark show, I would say, and also it was a 5-year process of self-discovery as a human being because everything that was not expected happened with it. I was just having a good time and writing because that was something I loved doing. And I never realized that it would end up becoming such a, like a landmark show and become a sort of setting a certain standard, etc. So I had no clue. So obviously, when I look back at time, if there was something that was really defining in my life, it is Tara. But having said that, a film that I made later, two films, White Noise, which I made in 2004, which was starring Rahul Bose and Koil Puri. It got released, but unfortunately, it only went to about 7 or 8 theaters in those times. Post that, the producers have had some sort of a confusion between them that the film has still not seen the light of day. So that's really close to my heart because I really gave my heart and soul in that film. So it's very, very close to my heart. Unfortunately, it's still not being seen on OTT. Although I keep talking to the producers and telling them that why are you not putting it out on OTT? So that's like something that is very, very close to my heart. And now recently I made a film which I completed in 2024. It's called Shout. It's a documentary of 90 minutes.
Wow.
And I have traveled all over India and traced the history of feminism in India from its roots, from where it started. Here's the sad part again. So it's ready, it was finished, it got rave reviews in the few screenings that were held. And then for some reason, the producers again, the guys who produced it, got cold feet because it was quite, according to them, very radical. But whoever sees it just loves it. But for them, it was like, how can these things be spoken about? And to support them, the censor board also came in between and said that you have to knock off many scenes from the film, which was totally uncalled for. There was just nothing that was offensive or anything like that. But somehow, the fact that feminism was being spoken about with so much of clarity kind of was again discomforting for the producers as well as the system.
As you talk about how, liberating it was as a filmmaker back then, what is about that one thing that you miss about 90s?
I just actually only miss the freedom of getting up and doing what you feel like doing. I don't, I don't face it myself as much, but I see young people like you. Also, when you have an idea, I see all of you struggling to make someone understand that idea.
True.
Whereas I know for a fact that an idea cannot be forced upon someone. An idea has to form into a story has to travel. And for people to understand that idea, they have to read or see that story.
True.
right?
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the system does not give you people the opportunity to make that idea become a story,
Yeah.
and I think that is what I miss also personally. Like, I'm not part of the mainstream because in my blood,
Yeah.
uh, I'm not part of the mainstream any longer because in my blood is freedom.
Yeah.
If I get an idea, I want to explore it irrespective of anybody buying it or not. So now I just do what I feel like doing. I've created this platform called the Daily Eye, which is a very powerful media platform for culture and cinema. You must check it out. And I just happened to develop it during the COVID years, and it's turned into a huge entity in its own self. We have over 500,000 readers, and it's doing really, really well. So it just happened because I had accessibility to technology, to everything else, and I could just put my own ideas and my thoughts into place. And
Yeah.
before I knew it, people started joining me, people started writing with me. Now we have around 8 to 10 really regular, very well-known writers and journalists who are contributing to it. We have no expenditure, and it has just become a wonderful platform. So one just keeps doing things that one feels like doing, and actually they turn into wonderful narratives. And another thing that I've just started with a very close friend of mine, which Deepa Gehlot, very well known film critic, columnist, author on cinema and all. So both of us have started the Waterfront Indie Film Festival, along with another compatriot, Shantanu Ray Chaudhary, and another compatriot, Avnish Mishra. And we're launching it in October. And we already have done 5 pre-festival events as a
Okay.
run-up to that final film festival. And the film festival is for independent cinema. So October 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, we have the festival unfolding. So I'm fully, deeply involved in that. So everything that happens organically with nobody sitting in front of you and telling you that this will not work and that will not work is what I think that's the freedom that I still have because I've experienced it in the 90s and the 80s. But I wish all of your generations would also get to experience that freedom.
Your favorite 90s Bollywood actor or actress?
Shah Rukh Khan,
And any actress?
actress Madhuri Dixit.
Favorite 90s TV show? Other
My
than
favorite,
Like Sarah?
other than
I was about to say
Obviously,
besides Sarah.
no, I must say that my favorite 90s TV show was Hasrate.
Do you remember any 90s TV commercial?
I think that was 80s, no, that Liril ad.
Lyric.
Then there
Oh,
was
Lyric was in
Liril
90s.
was in the 90s. Okay, Liril commercial I remember was huge. And then there was that Aishwarya Rai commercial of Coca-Cola. Was it in the 2000s? No, it was also 90s, I think.
90s,
Where
yeah.
she got discovered actually with Amir Khan, I think it was. Yeah, yeah. I remember that Coke ad very well.
And favorite 90s fashion trend?
Very, very cool costume jewelry. I remember people used to wear. It was, I think the hippies era of India happened in the 90s. The
Okay.
hippies era that happened in the
Yeah.
70s in America happened in the 90s in India. Yeah. So there was crazy colors and all of that started happening in the 90s.
Any favorite 90s dialogue that you remember?
You're talking to me, Robert De Niro in Taxi Driver.
90s movie that you love watching again and again.
90s movies that I loved watching again and again. I think it was Out of Africa. Meryl Streep and Robert De Niro. Yeah, not Robert De Niro, Robert Redford.
Okay.
So I remember seeing this movie and I still keep seeing this movie. It's my favorite movie.
Okay. If you could time travel to 90s for a
Mhm.
day, what would you do first?
I would go to Simla to the mall and have the softie over there. And then I would go to Chandigarh and take a motorcycle ride near the lake, right across the whole of the city. I would do all those things. I would go and hang out at La Bella's in the university campus and have a cold coffee. Those are the memories I've kept from the 90s. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us today. It has been wonderful hearing your stories, and I hope you continue to entertain and inspire us like you always have.
Thank you so much, Tanu. It was really nice talking to you. I think we forgot this was a podcast and we just kept chatting. So I really had a nice time. Thank you so much.